While working a salaried job, you worked, let's say, 8 hours a day. Now you suddenly work 10 to 12 hours a day. The dream at some point turns into a big headache where we don't understand why we're not achieving success and why the journey is so arduously difficult. If you're already an entrepreneur, or if you're thinking of becoming one, do you also have that long-term goal or dream of what will become of this company at some point? Do you just want to create a job for yourself, or do you want to create a business system that can one day be sold, perhaps to other investors who want to take the business to the next level and also get the reward for building that business system? So you should definitely have that long-term plan in place, because there have been experiences here with entrepreneurs who have shared their stories where at some point investors are at the door and want to buy the business from them. And if we've never thought about selling the business at all, then we haven't prepared it in a way that it could be sold for a reasonable value. So perhaps because we haven't had that long-term plan, we have to say no to that investor because it's not yet fit for sale. So if you do have a plan to exit your business at some point, then you should start acting in that direction today so that it's not solely dependent on you. If you think back for a moment about what the reason was why you started your company in the first place, what was the dream that made you take that risk to give up perhaps such guarantees, a secure situation and that kind of safety, and to go down that path of putting yourself to the test and to believe that it's possible for you to, so to speak, get the business up and running for yourself? Now, in most cases, why we start a business, the goal is to create additional freedom, perhaps working on our own terms, on our own time, and hopefully also that financial benefit that we want to get. Unfortunately, the reality is that many solo entrepreneurs in particular find themselves in a situation where they have instead created a job for themselves. So if they previously, perhaps while working a salaried job, worked, let's say, 8 hours a day, now they suddenly work 10 to 12 hours a day, often on weekends too. And instead of perhaps filling one role, they now fill, 8, 9 functions in their company and have to be able to handle all of those things well. So often that same so-called dream at some point turns into a big headache where we don't understand why we're not achieving success and why the journey is so arduously difficult. So if you perhaps recognize yourself in this today, there is definitely a solution, and the solution is that you don't work hard, but you work smart. And smart work as an entrepreneur means that you start consciously growing your team, you start creating a business system for yourself, and through that, it's possible for you at some point to first exit your company, or at least that role, and at some point, perhaps also sell the company to someone. So if you are perhaps at the beginning of your journey, you should definitely think not only about starting and growing your business, but also about how you could one day sell your business. Now, if you're a sole proprietor, then you have nothing to sell. It's not possible to sell your own skills to someone, and no investor is willing to invest money in just one person. But what people are willing to invest in and what can be sold is a business system. And if that business system operates without you, without the significant influence of one person, but instead there is a clear, so to speak, system where roles and procedures are in place, the tasks are clear, and people then buy a so-called ready-made functioning business along with its cash flow. So if you truly want to turn your so-called business dream into financial success, then you should already be thinking about the potential sale of the business and what conditions should be created for someone to even want to buy your business. If you perhaps don't have a clear plan and vision today to one day sell your business, then I recommend you play the cash flow board game, which is a very important learning tool that we also use in our courses at Starfish and which simulates real life. And when you also see those so-called business transaction cards, which feature automated businesses that bring you a 100% return, you realize that there is actually a very large potential if you are able to build that business system at some point. And the return on that investment is likely many, many times better than operating in any other asset class. Entrepreneurship requires the highest level of financial intelligence, but if you break through on this so-called journey and you're able to get the team to work, build the business system in a way that it creates enough value for customers, and at some point, in a good sense, step aside from the business, then it can have a very large potential. And why not then be a professional entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur whose task is to create business systems, sell them, and go and build the next business system. And with the creation of each business system, we gain new experiences, lessons, and we also become progressively smarter in this regard. So, once again, an entrepreneur is a professional builder of business systems, and a business owner is someone who perhaps just offers one skill, a competence that you currently have, and wants to get more freedom and more financial success through it, which may not actually come from there because you do more and more work and that freedom is nowhere in sight.